It's the unofficial Red Sox Fantasy Campers podcast with Pickles and AA.
Good morning. This is Pickles with the unofficial Red Sox Fantasy Campers podcast. And I'm here with AA and Brooke Cooper, the GM for the Woo Sox. Welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me. Thank you for agreeing to be on. We're so excited when we got this interview and we just happened to see Diane Flanagan in Fort Myers. And she said, oh, I heard Brooke's coming on the show. And I said, no one's supposed to know. I said, keep that quiet because it's a really big deal for the Red Sox camp. And I don't want anyone to know. And then I told Diane, I said, Pickles and I were talking about you in playing the 6 Degrees of Diane Flanagan because I said, she knows everybody. Well, as soon as I got your email, I couldn't wait to tell Diane because she just raves about the Red Sox fantasy camp. And so when I heard from you, I felt like, like it was a nice connection to have. I couldn't wait to brag about it. Well, we're very into promoting women in baseball. And when we heard the news, we were so excited that you had gotten promoted to general manager. And we kind of want to talk about how that happened for you. We did do a little research, but we kind of wanted to hear it from you because you started at the Paw Sox. Yes. Yeah. So I grew up going to McCoy Stadium, going to Paw Sox games. I'm from Rhode Island. I still live in Rhode Island. And, I played baseball growing up, just loved going to Paw Sox games with my family. And when I was in college, I applied for an internship with the Paw Sox. I studied sport and rec management in school. Thought it would be a good fit. And I actually didn't get the internship the first time I applied. And then I applied again a couple of years later. So in 2015, I finally got my first gig with the team. I was a merchandise intern. And I just loved everything about it. Just being at the ballpark and the front office there was awesome. The people there, it was phenomenal. And I never anticipated having a career in baseball, but here I am nearly 10 years later, and I just haven't been able to leave. Well, we were talking about, we don't want to make a big deal about you being a woman and being the general manager, but it is a big deal. Even though women have a long history of playing baseball and being a part of baseball, for you to be in that position as a woman is a big deal. Thank you first for that. It was something, our senior vice president of communications, Bill Wanless, he's phenomenal. He's been with the team for a long time. And I'm so grateful for him right now because he really prepared me for the excitement that would be around it. Because like you, when I accepted the position and we were talking about the announcement, I didn't think it would matter much. There are lots of women in leadership positions in baseball now. And also, at the GM position. So internally, it doesn't feel like it's a big deal because we have so many great women in our front office who help run the organization. But, he said, outside looking in, Brooke, like this is a big deal. And so he was really great in preparing me for it. And so, I don't want to downplay, how exciting that could be. And I look back at a younger version of me when I first started and how few women there were, in the Paw Sox, and definitely not in leadership positions. And I look back and think, it would have made a difference had there been someone like that. So sometimes I have to pinch myself and say, it does matter, maybe more than I think. Well, I know even when we were young women, I don't recall seeing anyone. Now we've got female announcers and female umpires and upper management. It's very exciting as people of this generation to look and see women coming up in the ranks. It's really neat.
Yeah. I mean, as always was softball when I was young.
Right.
So now, were you a softball player?
So I played Little League baseball until I was 12. And then there wasn't really a path forward for me to continue baseball. So I tried softball for a year. And I'll tell you, like the girls that I was around at the time, they were awesome. They were so good. I just didn't love softball as much as I loved baseball. And so I shifted my focus to basketball. I'm really hearing a future Red Sox camper here, aren't you, Pickles?
Yes, that would be cool.
So much fun.
You have it in, If they close the registration, I think you can get in.
I think you can get in.
No, my mom said she was looking at it. She really wanted to, but she said it was also sold out. Is that true? It sells out every year.
Well, you have to get on right away.
Yes.
When they release it in May, when they release it, you have to get right on it because I think there's more and more women trying to get into it.
Yeah, it's only
it
3
sells
years
out.
ago. My rookie year, my sister was over in Switzerland. She got on also. We were just, texting back and forth. You want to do this? And we got on. And then last year, or, not this past year, the year before, they had 5 teams. They had so many people. And one of the superstars that was a rookie with me, she didn't get her paperwork in time. But then this year they made it into 6 teams. So it keeps expanding. But
I'm telling you, a week out of the year, and it is this unbelievable uniting sisterhood. I've never experienced anything like it in my life. And it is the best week of my year. And when my family hears that, they're like, what about our vacations? Oh, that's great. They're great. But this is really something for me. And I just love it. So.
And you must hear about it not only because you have, I know Jody and Di working there at the Poet Park, but Getty is one of our coaches. So does he talk about the women's camp at all?
So Getty is a man of few words anyway. It's like, and he does everything, everything that we ever ask him to do, but he doesn't talk much about himself or anything like that. But I know that him and Diane have talked quite a bit about it, and Diane just raves about it. And I mentioned my mom. She was a really great athlete, loved baseball, loved softball, had like a really good group of friends that she's still friends with. And they can't wait to come out specifically for our Women in Sports Day. They're just so excited, love Diamond Sports, and really excited, to come support the Woo Sox.
So I did want to talk about Polar Park for a little bit. For a couple years ago, I did a baseball vacation. I went to Fenway, I went to Cooperstown, and then the last stop was Polar Park. And I didn't know what I was expecting. I haven't lived in Massachusetts in 30 years, so I didn't know what to expect because the last time I went to Worcester was very different from this time. And when I walked into Polar Park, we did the tour. And I saw the sensory room. I ate out of the organic food store, and my phone was going dead. I said, oh my God, they have chargers here. And your merchandise is really fun. I love the merchandise. So this park is something really exciting. And that in part is because of Janet Marie Smith. And the train happened to be going by. We were at a night game, and I said, wow, what an experience. How much did you love being a part? Because it seems like there's such like a female movement in that park.
Yeah, I love just everything you just said about Polar Park because I feel like you captured the essence of all the things that I love about it, and that we wanted people to experience when creating the ballpark. Janet Marie Smith is just a visionary when it comes to ballparks. When I first came to the site where the ballpark is, it was just this empty parking lot, and in my mind, I'm like, how is this ever going to be home of the Worcester Red Sox? I could not see it, but Janet Marie Smith is incredible, and she also has this presence about her that when she's in a room and she speaks, like everyone just stops and listen, and that included Larry Lucchino, our late chairman. He could be on about something and whatever it is, but Janet spoke and Larry stopped and listened because she just knows what she's talking about. She has such a talent and she has such a way of thinking about the surrounding community, what matters to the community. So in our case, what matters to Worcester, and how can you tie that into the ballpark experience? So getting to see her in action and being a part of building Polar Park and all the little nuances that make the experience great is something, I'm so grateful for. And then I love that you mentioned the merchandise because I think I said I started as a merchandise intern. And my big project when we made the move from Rhode Island to Worcester was spearheading the rebrand. And so, I was the one ordering all the merchandise and putting together our makeshift store at the time before the ballpark was here, getting all those fun things, putting Smiley on our hats and on our jerseys and all of those things. So it's fun to hear all of that, and it kind of like takes me back in time to how exciting it was when we were going through the planning process and all those beginning stages.
Well, I will tell you, we were traveling with someone who's not, and I still love them because they're my relative, but they're not a Red Sox fan. But with your merchandise and the Sea Dogs, they actually came home with merchandise from both those parks. And I said, see, that's good merchandising, because even though they're not there to promote the team necessarily, they're buying the merchandise.
Yes. And the other thing about us that's unique is we are one of the only minor league teams that still share our name with our big league affiliate. And for us, and you know this as Red Sox fans, but like the Red Sox name is so, so important. And so we didn't want to lose that name, especially because our close proximity to Fenway Park. But that being said, we still wanted our own identity, because you don't have to be a Red Sox fan to be a Woo Sox fan. Minor league baseball is so much more than just the baseball. It really is a holistic experience, a way to bring people together. That's what I love about sport. I know that's what so many people love about sport. It's just like that feeling of being a part of something that's bigger than just yourself. And so, you know, we are the Worcester Red Sox. We share that name and that pride, Red Sox Nation. But at the same time, we have our own identity in the Woo Sox, and that's where Smiley Ball comes in, and you see the heart in our W, because Worcester is the heart of the Commonwealth. So just, you know, all of those fun things, and you have me sounding like a kind of a brand nerd right here, but I get really excited about those things.
All right. Now, I do have kind of a weird question for you, and I'm sure no one's asked you this before. But when I graduated from college, the first thing somebody gave me was Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And when I started looking at your career path, and I started looking at things people were saying about you, your employees, I said, I wonder if Brooke read that book, because one of the key elements in that book is knowing people's names and knowing about their families and treating employees like family. And that is absolutely the vibe I get from everything I read about you.
That is so, so kind for you to say. I did not read that book, although I have heard about it. And I'm really big into books that really help you grow. I'm into leadership books. I don't know if you can see, I have actually a few right behind me right there. But, you know, I think that our people are our greatest asset. I adore the staff we have here in Worcester. So talented, so dedicated. They inspire me daily. And really, it's the people that's kept me in baseball. When I left college, I thought I wanted to open my own community center, and I joined the Paw Sox because like I said, I needed an internship. But it was the people, the tie-to community that really kept me in baseball. And so, you know, and I will say like that makes me feel a lot of pride. And hearing you say that, because that's really how my parents raised me, and that's the type of person that I want to be. So, you know, it makes me happy to hear that that you got that impression.
Yes. Well, we were excited when we read everything about you. We tried not to, because we were talking before in the pre-interview. I said, I don't want to do, you know, we didn't want to do too much because we wanted to have a natural, organic conversation with you. But that was the one thing we kept seeing over and over, how much you're loved. And so that's exciting for us to see, you know, in a leadership role, that's a natural leader, someone who's kind and caring and knows the employees and knows their background and asks about their family. And that's something really important. I have a business background. So when I was getting my business degree, all the books for business class said, get your employees the best chair, get them music, get them good lighting, things like that. So it is neat to see that in action and to see how you've come up the ranks in baseball.
Thank you. And I will say, one of the tips that I give new employees, especially the interns, when they come in and they're like, you know, what advice can you give me? Is, you know, learn the names of people in the office. And so when I started as an intern, I got our program book. And again, Bill Onlist does a terrific job with our program book, but it has the headshots and the names and titles of everyone in the front office. So I got that as an intern, and I memorized everyone's name in the front office. So when people would walk through the store, I would say, hi, Mike. Hi, Bill. Hi, you know, insert name here. And part of that is also strategic, because when you say someone's name, it incentivizes them to learn yours. Right. Because if somebody says, if somebody says to me, hi, Brooke, I'm not going to feel very good if I don't know their name. I'm going to say hi. And then, I'm going to go and ask, what's that person's name? And therefore I learn it. And so I think for young people who are looking to, enter this business and how can I stand out, like just learning and using people's names is such a big thing because, again, then it incentivizes them to learn yours.
And you get out of your office. You're out and about watching the games too, right? You're out there.
Yes. Yeah. I can't tell you that I watch a ton of the game because it's a lot of walking around and seeing, how the business is operating. But one of my favorite things is really interacting with our game day staff and interacting with fans. It's so great. Like every fan has a story as to why they love baseball or why they're proud to see Polar Park come to Worcester, or just like what it means to their social lives. Sometimes we get people who might be retired or might have lost some family or whatever it is. And Polar Park kind of becomes that home away from home. And it's really nice to learn those stories.
That's nice. Could we ask if that was Morgan Freeman on the intro to the little, the welcome to
Polar Park? I said it sounded like him. So there's a narrator that sounds almost identical to Morgan Freeman, but I'm going to say that's not him.
No, you would know.
I do not remember Morgan Freeman doing any work for him, although we would love for him to.
Nice little intro to see the whole park, like from a bird's eye view.
Yeah.
Because I've never been. So,
You like to come.
Yeah, we hear good things. Well, Di Flanagan and I are both getting our championship rings at Fenway in September because we were on.
Congratulations!
So maybe I could take a little journey over to see Polar Park. Right?
Well, should.
Let me know. We'd love to have you.
Now, one of the things that we did a lot of reading about you, but one of the things that I was impressed with that you have young children, and you have this huge career now, and it's so good that that back in the day, I'm not a lot older than you, but women were not promoted because of having children, or God forbid they get pregnant. So
yeah,
one of your children is very young, and I mean, it had no effect whatsoever on your career, and you got right back in, and you're able to manage everything. And
you make it sound so easy when you say it like
well, tired.
Yeah. So I'll say a couple of things. Number one, I have a very supportive spouse. My husband is a wonderful person, a wonderful dad, and like a huge supporter, obviously of me, but also of equity, of women in sports. He was so hyped up, like most of the country, about the women's college basketball tournament this year. So he's just phenomenal, which that makes it a heck of a lot easier. And the other thing that's really great about our organization is that, in addition to having women like Janet Murray Smith, who is just incredible and so good at what she does, you have supportive leadership. So, Larry Lucchino, Charles Steinberg, always said, you can have a family and you can work here. And they went as far to say, what kind of organization would we be if we didn't support young families? Think of how many great people we would miss out on, if we didn't support those who valued family time. And I think that's so telling, especially because we're a family business, right? Like minor league baseball is all about providing affordable opportunities for families. And if none of our front office can relate to that, then, we probably won't be as good as we should be. So that's incredible. And I wouldn't say that like it's had no effect on my career. It is very challenging, especially baseball has a difficult schedule. And, I haven't ever worked in another sport. I've only been in baseball. But one of the things that I've heard is if you can work in baseball, you can work in any sport because the schedule is the most challenging.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and that, it is true. Like it's tough when you have a double homestand or, I miss bedtime for 4 nights in a row. Those things are tough. I have a 4-year-old and a 4-month-old. And my 4-year-old is very vocal about, Mommy, are you going to work, or is today a long day? But he's also getting to the age where he enjoys to be at the ballpark. And I think it's important for him eventually for my other son to see me doing something that I love. All moms, I think, have it tough. And even if you don't have a professional career, like I think all moms are working moms. Like it's work to be a mom. But for me, I want to work in baseball, and the fact that I have that support both from my colleagues, from leadership and at home is just, I've been set up in a way to succeed, and I'm really, really grateful for that. And then, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to go too long. The other part of it is I think that it's actually benefited my career in the sense that it's forced me to have these tough conversations. Back when I worked in Pawtucket, there had never been a woman in the organization who had children, who got pregnant and had children. So they didn't have a leave policy. And for me, I knew that I wanted to have kids, and I didn't yet, but I knew that I wanted them. So I didn't think that there was a place for me in that organization long term. So I was just like, oh, it's going to be time for me to leave. And it forced me to have these conversations where, I really enjoy being here, but I'm going to look elsewhere because these are my life plans. And with that, I think opened the eyes of leadership and within the rest of the organization. And again, and it was like, no, you don't need to go somewhere else. We want to support you. And it really allowed the organization an opportunity to step up in that way and to support me, and in turn, support, women, not just women, but also men, and I think just parents in general, right? You should be able to do both.
Well, you opened the door for a lot of women in the future. It sounds
wow.
Good for you. I applaud you.
Yeah, because even I'm just thinking, like, you being a working mom almost kind of relates to lower A, because you're watching them in AA, and then they come to AAA, and you're watching them move up to the big, right? Everything is like family.
Yeah. We say that often, how much pride we have when we see the guys, right? Like here you see them come in, and often they're really green, and they play here for a while, and then when they eventually make it to Fenway, it's like it's such a sense of pride in our front office to see those guys do really well. We're always rooting for them. And the cool thing about minor league baseball is, like, you never know who the next big star is. Like, this year, we have a lot of young guys, and you never know who's going to be the next big thing.
Wow.
Have you ever met like either yours or your parents' childhood heroes from the Sox, like due to your career? Like, were you surprised that somebody just happened to like wander in and?
Yes. So I mean, for instance, like on opening day, Trot Nixon was here, and he's just like anyone, like just a guy and a normal guy, and he's talking about this and that, and the weather is cold, and so we're just talking small talk, and I'm Brooke and whatever, and then I'm just like, by the way, I grew up watching you. Like, I couldn't. You can't help it, because I mean, the guys also, they like to hear that. They dedicate their lives to playing, and they like to know that that it had an impact.
Oh, that's great.
Well, Brooke, this has been a fantastic interview. Thanks again. We're so excited that you agreed to come on. And Pickles has one final question for you.
Yes, we ask everybody, and I'm really interested in your answer. So tell me what your favorite baseball movie has been in your lifetime.
Oh, gosh, that's such a great question. I watched a ton of them while I was on maternity leave. And man, they're so, like I said, like sports just make you feel like you're part of something bigger than yourself. And so I think that they all brought tears to my eyes. They're just so good. But I mean, gosh, I got to say A League of Their Own is just, it's just a classic. It's so good. I had to tell a couple of our interns here last year, I had to put it on their homework assignment.
Yeah.
I just feel like you work in baseball, everyone should watch that movie, and it like blew my mind that so many people haven't seen it. So yeah, it's just a great one.
I had never watched that movie until I went to Cooperstown for my baseball vacation, and I saw the small women's section in Cooperstown. And I was like, I don't know why I never watched that movie. And then I actually watched it in the hotel when I was in Massachusetts, but it is a great movie and there's a lot of comedy in it.
Yes.
The ladies come to our camp, two of the originals, Maybelle and Blair and Mary Moore.
Well, I was just going to say, you talk about meeting your heroes, and I should have said last year I got to meet Maybelle for the I took a picture with her, and it's like my crown photo.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. If you come down to Fort Myers, please let Pickles and I buy you dinner.
Yes, please.
Okay, and come to Worcester, and we'll enjoy a game together.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, Trot's one of the coaches, and
Brooke
Daddy
probably get us better seats.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I promise I'll get you good seats.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Well, it's a pleasure.
All right. Well, this is AA
And Pickles
for the unofficial Red Sox Fantasy Campers podcast.